Breaking Down the Law is sponsored by Battle-Born Injury Lawyers.
Amid the coronavirus pandemic, the big question is still how and when to reopen the economy. And as you may have gathered, it is no simple task. And now we're seeing disagreements between the president and the nation's governors. Here to discuss the legal implications of how this can work and how it'll affect us right here in Nevada, attorney Matt Hoffmann with Battle-Born Injury Lawyers. Matt, thanks for joining us today. So I guess the big question here, the president saying the states should reopen according to his directive, but the states are saying they're going to make their own decisions. Who's right?
Yeah, and thanks for having me. I mean, the states are correct on this issue. It's the 10th Amendment. The federal government has certain powers, but they only have the powers specifically delineated by the Constitution. Everything else is left to the states. That's why states can declare emergencies, and they do all the time. They don't need the federal government's permission to do it. So the governors are right. The legal scholars are right. The president doesn't have authority to tell the governors, hey, you need to reopen, and they don't have to listen to them. They can do what they want. But practically speaking, there may be some differences.
Right. He's got a little bit of leverage, at least, because if the president decides to lift the emergency declaration federally, then the states could be floundering a little bit. You could see lawsuits. We could see some interesting stuff happen.
Yeah, and there's kind of a few areas on the practical level where you're going to see problems. So number one, a lot of the emergency declarations, like right here in Nevada, there's been, I think, 13 different declarations and modifications issued by our governor. But in virtually every one of those, in multiple places, one of the reasons it states for the need for all this is that the president has declared a national state of emergency. If that goes away, you're obviously losing some of the basis for everything you're doing. Number two, if the federal government is saying you should be back working, restaurants should be open, here's our guidelines, and then you as a state refuse to follow them, you're really opening yourself up to lawsuits and challenges as to your orders, and maybe even as to this whole emergency statute, trying to declare it unconstitutional. I know a lawsuit was filed just yesterday by a drive-through marriage service saying it's, that the governor's gone too far and not allowing people to get married. They have legitimate reasons they need to get married. Sometimes it's immigration issues. So that's the other part. And then practically, I think probably the most realistic situation that you're going to see is while the president can't force the states to do pretty much anything, the federal government can very much persuade the states to do things. And the way they do that is with money. There's no doubt that Nevada and every state is going to need a lot of federal assistance to recover from this, no question. And so do you really want to anger the very people that you're going to be asking for money from? And the example I give would be, the federal government wanted all the states to lower or raise their drinking age to 21 in the 1980s. And a lot of states said no. So what the federal government did to get around the 10th Amendment is they said, fine, we're going to pass a law that says you have to raise it to 21. And if you don't, and it's your option, you don't have to, you'll just get 5% less in federal funding for the highways.
Right.
And we all know what the result is. In every state, the drinking age is 21. So, I mean, I'm simplifying things, but I think those are the kind of things you could see happen and the concerns that the governor should have if they do not follow the federal guidance on how to reopen the economy.
Sure. So it's kind of one of those things we wait and see. They do have a little leverage. Of course, we're out of time. We always appreciate you being on the show, Matt, and breaking everything down for us. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you back here next week.
All right. Sounds good. I look forward to being in studio. Maybe we can talk about Joe Exotic.
Yeah, the Tiger King next week, maybe.
Something more fun.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thank you.